number. I have a tendency just to blurt things out. Let's go ahead and talk to Brian in Montreal, Canada. You're on the air with Mike Rivero. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. I just wanted to let you know that ever since you mentioned V for Vendetta the other day, for the last 4 days, they're doing it on purpose over Montreal to make the chemtrails in V formation. Like children.
Look, I'm not the center of the universe, not even the center of my own household, so that's certainly ridiculous. But
there's a Canadian doctor up here who said that they're going to take this new swine flu strain, since it's so weak, and put it in the vaccinations this fall for all us Canadians.
Yes, I saw that.
If you didn't get it this time, you'll get it.
Yes, I saw that. In fact, thank you so much. Yes, they're going to try to make people with fear and try to make all the school kids take the new swine flu stuff that they've now said isn't swine flu, because it isn't. It's engineered next fall. But to add on that and get Mike Rivero's comment, I forgot to cover this. A big top British scientist, and I think I printed it, but I don't see it here in the stack. It's up on InfoWars and Prison Planet. Virologist says virus came from lab. Just Google that. Mike, you always see flu viruses come out of the East. They come out of a different hemisphere. They always have a genetic pedigree. This thing had no pedigree. It just came out of nowhere with 4 different types of genetics, and all the virologists we talked to said, guaranteed, it's engineered in a lab. That's like looking at a brand new Chevy Tahoe and saying, did it grow on a tree? No, it was obviously made in a factory. Your take on that?
Well, we've located several articles from the CDC's own website over the last several years where they had been playing with exactly these kind of recombinants. And we even found one article where they'd put together one of these hybrids and were disappointed that it turned out it was not as infectious as they thought it might be. And a lot of people are very concerned because we know scientists went out and they dug up the bodies of victims of the 1918 Spanish flu and recovered that genome, rebuilt it, recreated it, and started splicing it into all of these other things. And when we first heard about this new flu pandemic, we were being told that the avian flu component of it was almost identical to the 1918 flu pandemic. And so we're getting all this conflicting information where originally the media was saying this was this new Frankenvirus made up of all these other components, completely new, nobody had immunity to it. Now we're finally hearing from people it's mild. It's not even as serious as regular flu. So there's a lot of very bad information going on out there, but we know the CDC has been playing with exactly this kind of assembled virus in their labs.
No doubt. Absolutely assembled, no doubt. In fact, there it is. Professor, descendant of H1N1 virus accidentally released from lab. Well, we told you that 8-9 days ago. Mike Rivero, stay there. Back in 70 seconds with more calls.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. I've told you for a long time it's important to be self-sufficient. And today, that's more important than ever. We need to be independent, and food and water is the key. You'll never have to stand in a bread line if you have your own bread. You'll never have to go to the Superdome and beg for FEMA to take care of your family in any emergency if you simply prepare. No one is going to take care of your family in the final equation but you. You know eFoodsDirect.com is still able to ship storable food that's safe from E. coli, salmonella, genetic alteration, or Chinese imports. And they do it at almost half the cost of last year's grocery prices. Call 1-800-409-5633. Or on the web, go to eFoodsDirect.com. Visit eFoodsDirect.com and look over the fine list of high-quality, freeze-dried, and dehydrated foods they have to offer. Watch the free videos. Look at their online catalog. Or give them a call at 1-800-409-5633. Again, 800-409-5633. Or on the web at eFoodsDirect.com. Take action today. The first step is getting storable food.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We have a prominent Harvard professor and researcher looking at other countries that have decriminalized drugs. Now their crime rates drop, drug use drops. He's coming up in the next segment. After that, I'm going to have open phones for everybody throughout the balance of the show, and I promise I'm going to get to all your calls. Mike Rivero, whatreallyhappened.com, is on the line with us. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. And yeah, you don't like YouTube banning our videos, basically? Well, just go get a PrisonPlanet.tv membership. We've got to have 15 cents a day to pay for the high-quality bandwidth. Please become members. And we'll try to put out as many videos as we can to the general public, the most important ones. But I don't have the money to keep doing this. Let's talk to Thomas in Illinois. You're on the air, sir, with Mike Rivero. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rivero, Mr. Jones. It's a pleasure. Alex, I got a question for you. It's kind of a question on, I know you're a father and have young children, and I appreciate everything you're doing in the info war, putting yourself and your family on the line, because you realize without liberty there's nothing, there's no future for any of us. And I have a 10-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter, and it's kind of hard to walk that fine line. I want them to be critical thinkers, independent thinkers, but I'm not going to sit there and break down, the whole white Anglo establishment to them. What do you suggest, what measures I take to get them to ask important questions, but I don't want them to spend their whole childhood trying to break down the New World Order?
I would read them the Roman, the Greek, English, French, medieval fairy tales. Because fairy tales will teach them that just because somebody looks like a nice man, he's really a wolf. And you can only trust your family, and family comes first. And I would never fight with your wife in front of them. And I would teach them early on that the world is against them generally, and that nobody's going to look out for them but their family and themselves. And I would teach them to not care about Madison Avenue and teach them about sales and how the system tries to make them feel inadequate. And I would teach them that it's not cool to get into trouble. It's cool to live well, as the French say. I appreciate your call. Mike Rivero, give us your take on that.
I have to admit I was momentarily distracted there, and yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, about the raising the children, I think more than anything else, just raise them with an idea that big people can lie to them, especially from the government and TV, because I think if kids are taught to be skeptical of what the TV and radio is telling them, then they don't have to spend their entire lives deconstructing the New World Order. They just need to be skeptical. And I know in the age that I was raised in, we basically grew up with this idea that whatever the TV newscasters told us was the honest truth, and we could rely on them, we could count on them. That was the way the world was. We now know that over our entire lives, the corporate media, TV, newspaper, radio was hiding from us the fact that the U.S. government tortures prisoners, and they've been doing it all along. That cover-up alone should thoroughly discredit the corporate media in the eyes.
I was on a neocon website, Front Page Magazine, and I clicked. We ought to play this later. Weeks ago, researching it, I clicked on one of their events in California, and they had this Marine Corps colonel on there saying, I don't like waterboarding. I don't like waterboarding. I like electricity. And they all laugh. And I've had the Special Forces commanders on. It's standard training for Army Special Forces how to hook electrodes to people's genitals. They have little field crankers. We have the manuals. I mean, this didn't just start last week.
We had a caller into our show the other day who was an ex-Marine. He's now living in Europe. He's an expat, and he's a Vietnam veteran. And he said they were taught how to do these kind of interrogations, and they were taught to take 3 North Vietnamese prisoners up in a helicopter, throw one out, and they knew that the other 2 would start talking before the first guy even hit the ground. And they were taught to do this. This was policy. This wasn't bad apples. It wasn't rogue soldiers. It wasn't people getting overexcited. This was trained and passed down the chain of command to do these things.
And then you expand on that, Mike. Then when our troops get captured, the same stuff gets done to them. This is not what you want to turn your army into, because then they come back to America, they become cops and judges and lawyers and local CIA crack dealers, and they start ruling. Then you got to have war with them, and then the cities burn. Mike Rivero, always great having you on. We appreciate your time, my friend.